Hey guys, what's going on? Drewzy here, back with another South Park Phone Destroyer video, and something that was requested in one of my most recent videos from some of you guys was to see some more PvP decks. I was originally planning on putting a PvP episode out here, but I'm going to go ahead and do something before I put that PvP deck out, because a lot of you, like myself, are kind of stuck in your PvP area. Like, are you stuck in the 20s? Are you stuck, in the early 30s? Things like that. And I think a lot of people that are stuck in those things probably need to get some higher leveled cards, and the best way to level your cards up to get the upgrade items, to get coins, to get things like that, is PvE grinding. So grinding through the PvE missions multiple times to get up there in the PvP ranks a little bit higher. And probably the best deck that I have found to grind through, especially the lower level PvE levels, is this deck that I'm going to showcase here today. And there's 3 key items and cards that you need to do that. The number 1 card is Gizmo Ike. Gizmo Ike, such a good assassin. I did a video on him. Check it out if you haven't checked it out. He is so good for PvE. You need Gunslinger Kyle. Gunslinger Kyle with his charge attack with the boost, which I will showcase here in a second. And then Hyperdrive. Not a lot of people are talking about Hyperdrive. Hyperdrive is a very good card, and this deck that I'm showcasing here in this build is similar to the PvP deck that I will showcase in the next episode. But there are some cards that you can put to go with them. So I would suggest Program Stan, Osimo 4000. I would suggest Warlord Tweak. Now, Tweak might be a little bit difficult to get because you need to get that Tweak, you need to be at least PvP rank 20, so to unlock him. So that would be, that'd be another one I would encourage. I like Hookhand Clyde in this build. I like Enforcer Jimmy, and then of course some assassins like Ike and Bonita Sally and things like that to round out the deck. So basically the big key things that you need for this deck to be successful in PvE, and this is mostly built and designed to take out the leader as quickly as possible at the end of the fight. Now so the big things that you're going to want to do is within the first phase get some frontline fighters or Osimo out. Get them out first to try to soak up a lot of the damage. Before the second phase starts, you're going to want to get Gizmo Ike in the far back behind your leader and get him started to charge up. And then every time Gizmo Ike is charged, activate him to get more and more Ikes out. Secondly, you're going to make sure before the third phase starts, you're going to hopefully want at least 2 things available to you. One, to have Gunslinger Kyle's charged attack ready to go so that you can activate it the second the leader right around the time the leader spawns. And then third, to have at least enough energy to activate Hyperdrive or Tweak at the time that the leader spawns. So the second the leader spawns, then you're going to want to activate in the order of making sure you have as many Gizmo Ikes as you can get, then activate Gunslinger Kyle and Hyperdrive and watch the leader get liquefied. It is just devastating to watch this combo work out. If you don't have Hyperdrive, then you can use Tweak, because Tweak does the same thing to generate that increased rage, essentially, to make the characters move faster and attack faster, which is just devastating. It makes this so easy. As I'm going to showcase in this video, I was able to beat all types of stages with this deck. I was able to beat higher level adventure. I was able to beat sci-fi, I was able to beat almost chapters 1 through 9 with this deck. This deck works. The only main weakness of this deck is flying units. It doesn't do very well against flying leaders because there's only really 2 or 3 cards that can counteract the flying leaders, which is Gunslinger Kyle, which is Tweak, and then of course the freezes of Osimo and Program Stan. So I mean, if you're going against a bunch of flying units, and I'm showing in some of the video footage of me going against some flying units, it's going to be a little bit trickier and might take a little bit longer. Does this deck work really well against leaders? Against certain leaders, yes. It can struggle at times against leaders because you're just not going to be able to have the swarm amount of units to fight off certain leaders. I was able to use this deck that I'm showcasing to beat the Magnificent Randy. I was not able to go and to beat Token. I was not able to beat level 50 with the Grand Wizard Cartman with this deck yet. I'm going to have to work the deck around a little bit to get to that point to beat level 50, but up through level 49, this deck works. It has worked for me. I've beaten the higher tier bronze level leaders, especially like Inuit Kenny at like level 8. 15, so he's, I believe, level 3 and 4 cards that I've been able to fight against and win with this deck. And I don't have very many. I have a decent number of these cards to level 2, but not all of them. About half are level 2 and half are level 1. But this deck still really works, guys. It's really cool to watch. It's really hilarious to watch just the enemy leader just get devastated at the end of a round. And it's pretty effective. So let me know what you guys think of the deck. Is there some things I could change to it, or if there's some other suggestions that you have for cards to support this deck? But primarily you just need those 3 cards: Gunslinger Kyle, Gizmo Ike, and Hyperdrive. And if you use them in the right time, and it may take a couple matches and a couple rounds to kind of figure out how the flow is going to work. And just remember that the battlefield stays the same in PvE, that the enemies will spawn in the same spots. They're just going to spawn at higher levels. So as you kind of play the levels multiple times, you'll kind of figure out the flow, figure out when to attack. But you definitely want Gizmo Ike in the back before the second wave starts. You definitely want Gunslinger Kyle with his ultimate ready before the leader spawns. You can use it at times during the fight if you need to turn the tide around, or you can use Tweak early and save Hyperdrive for the end for the leader to try to get some damage in, again, if there's just mobs and mobs of enemies coming at you. But I still think the deck is pretty solid. I still think the deck really helps, especially for me right now. I'm trying to grind through opening lockers, getting as many items as I can, and trying to get as many good things as I can to try to be able to upgrade these cards and be able to showcase some builds for you guys, because I know that's what you guys are asking for, and I'm trying to do the best I can for you guys to not spend a ton of money on this game. And I know a lot of you are probably trying to be more free-to-play players like myself and not trying to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on this game. So this is just a great way to get your cards leveled up and get you in a position where you can be successful for that and trying to be more of a free-to-play style player. You're going to have to grind, guys. This is going to be a game that you're going to have to grind because it's a free-to-play game, and most free-to-play games at some point are a grind to advance further and further on within either the PvP aspect or the story aspect. And I think that this is just an effective deck that will help you do that. It's by no means perfect. There are definite flaws in it, like I've discussed earlier. So, I mean, there could be some things that are open for improvement, and I'm open to criticism if you guys want to make some suggestions for improvements. But this is just a deck that's worked really well for me, and I thought maybe it would be helpful for you guys too. So that's the only reason why I'm mostly showcasing the deck here today. Not trying to say this is the best PvE deck or this is the best deck in the game by any stretch of the imagination, but it works for both PvE and PvP if you use it in the right capacity and use it at the right time. I mean, for PvP, most likely Gizmo Ike would be removed, and there are other options, and I'll showcase those in the PvP guide that I'm going to showcase here in a future episode. But it's just really well for PvE, for that grinding for you guys. So again, let me know what you guys think. Please comment, please like the video if you found it helpful. But until then, until next time, guys, my name is Drewzy.